Peace. Initially, I didn't watch MREC's interview with Bimmy. I had my personal reasons why I didn't feel that I should watch it, whatever. And I received a call from somebody that I hold in a real high regard, and he told me to, go ahead and watch it. So I watched it. And the thing about me is, I'm not tied to no organizations. I don't owe anybody no favors, no loyalty. I ain't on nobody's team or none of that type of shit. So I'm gonna definitely speak my mind and say exactly what's on my mind. If my intuition sends me a message, I have no problem speaking that publicly. I listened to what Bimmy was saying. The video that I'm speaking of, I watched it this morning, and it says something about paperwork party coming soon, as in Bimmy has something that he's gonna present about Supreme and the Supreme team. I got two things to say. Number one, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I swear to God, I knew that it was coming. I was zip-lipped about it, right? Many years ago, when I was going really, really hard with that genre of content, the gangster, the underworld content, I was studying like a motherfucker. I had notes everywhere. I had resources from people who watched my platform, people who was in law enforcement, even people that was in trouble around that time. Somewhere during that period, something came across my desk, and it made me say, and I'm so serious, and I know that's what Bimmy is about to pull. I'm gonna touch on it just a little bit, and I'm gonna see how the rest of this shit unfolds. In the documentary, Supreme says that a lot of the federal agents, they were mad that he didn't go to jail in the 80s with the rest of those guys. He said that on his documentary, on a new documentary, The Supreme Truth. He said that. There was, I can't recall where it came from or where I seen it at or how I was exposed to this, but there was something that happened back then during that period that didn't seem right. I'm just gonna say it. If there's any indication of a sealed indictment or a sealed anything, then it will raise a red flag by any means, by anybody that's like, paying attention. Someone would say, why is this sealed, or why isn't this being made available to the public? And I'm almost positive, I'm like 99% positive that I encountered that in regards to the Supreme team. Somebody had a sealed indictment or a sealed file, something that wasn't being made aware to the public. So I'm assuming that Bimmy is about to blow up the spot with that, and he was forced into this. I believe this is a subject that was known amongst their inner circle, but it wasn't spoken of. Just like this situation with Bimmy was never spoke of until this documentary. I've looked at this shit from all different types of angles, and then I went and I watched this MREC documentary, and I watched Bimmy. I paid very, very close attention, not to just the things that he was saying, but the confidence that he said it with. This confidence could be drawn from the fact that he feels that if he did something, it could never be proven, because of course they said that it was a confidential informant. And to be truthful, a confidential informant can't be detected unless you go through trial, maybe a motion for discovery, or the Freedom of Information Act, something along those lines, right? This is also something that didn't sit well with me. I had to think about it. After you have days to think about something from different angles, you might see things in a different light. I got pictures and all types of shit, magazines, books about the Supreme Team. And all of this shit came out after 1985. After 1985. There was never any mention from the hierarchy of the Supreme Team saying that Bimmy was a rat or that Bimmy was an informant. It wasn't spoken publicly. If it was, it wasn't spoken publicly. And even if it was spoken behind closed doors, even if it was something that was mentioned in Queens, they would have said, Supreme said it. They would have been said that. That would have been out there. That would have been out there. The Supreme felt like that. And I'm quite sure that there was pictures of them guys, or those guys were still dealing with each other and still in the presence of each other after 1985. So it would make me question, why did he say it now? Why did he say it now? And I'm gonna be for real. This is my personal opinion. I said this on my interview, on my discussion with Stackstone. Nobody, and I mean nobody, accuses niggas of being the police more than the incarcerated. And I've seen it happen 1,000 times. They will say anybody, they will point it at anybody that's free. It's almost like a misery likes company type of thing. They will point it when niggas be at the picnic tables in jail, at the lunch tables in jail, all they do is talk about niggas that's on the streets and basically wish them into incarceration. This is the truth. I've seen it 1,000 times, right? And over the years, Bimmy has been put in a situation, especially during the social media generation, he has been put into the situation of being almost like one of the faces of the Supreme Team, because the guys who were the real, I guess the guys who really put in work, or the guys who was really getting large amounts of money, was incarcerated. They weren't around. So Bimmy became the face and the one who was getting all the adulation and all the recognition in regards to the Supreme Team. That documentary came out, Hip Hop Uncovered. That was 100% a production that praised Bimmy and held him in a very, very high regard. This could have caused some envy amongst people. There's a law in the 48 Laws of Power that says, never outshine the master. And that, in my opinion, could be what caused this to come out of the blue like that. Because if it was like that damaging, if it was that of a bad thing, if it was something that he didn't like, that would have been said publicly 1,000 times. It wouldn't have been news to us. Everybody would have been like, oh, Preem been said that. Preem been saying that. But that's not the case. At least not online. It was never heard of. So, again, it can't really be proven. It can't really be proven. And there could have been a motive. There had to have been a motive, because it's never been discussed. It had to be a motive. It had to have been a reason. And I know during this social media shit, there's two things that a person, men and women, will reach for to try to destroy someone's name and credibility. They will call you a homosexual, or they will call you a snitch. One of the two. You're going to see this come from both sexes. Women will more than likely reach for the calling a guy a blade. Guys, they will try to call you a snitch. Again, this is based on observation, and I'm telling y'all to prepare for what's to come. Bimmy said he's about to have a paperwork party, and he got something for their ass. He might have been pushed into this situation because he don't have nowhere else to go. He don't have nothing else to do but fight. It's too public. So he has to exist, he has to fight this statement. And like he said, there could be an element of misery. Niggas that be incarcerated be feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? And if Bimmy wasn't sending him money, if Bimmy wasn't taking care of him, that could definitely trigger some resentment. When you seeing a nigga on TV Hip Hop Uncovered, that was on FX. A person might assume that, oh, he made lots of money from this. Why wasn't I given anything? And it could cause some people to feel some type of way. Make sure that you like, share, and comment. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at @gullytv_. Follow me on Twitter at gullytv1. I had to think about this, and again, I wasn't just looking at Bimmy's, the shit that came out of his mouth. I'm looking at his posture, his movement, and he was very, very comfortable and confident in the things that he was saying. That situation with Big Nose Troy, there could be some truth to that. Why do I feel that way? Because Bimmy said out of his mouth, I signed the affidavit. I don't think that he did that on purpose. I think that spilled out of his mouth while he was under pressure, tangling with Hurricane Zip. And that's why I feel that's how I feel that was revealed. He said it out of his mouth. And I believe he said it on M Record, something about the affidavit, right? But this thing with Supreme, that could be personal. Peace.